So with Glasner's appointment to Forest, with him stepping up to the bigger team, the question now has to be about his tactics and formation. Because I'm hearing 3-4-2-1, everyone's got to start getting used to this. But what does it actually mean? Let's get into a deep dive of these tactics, and boy are they exciting. Welcome to your Forest News. Hi guys, hope you're doing well and welcome to this video, which for the geeks out there like me, you're gonna find interesting, fascinating, because we're gonna break down OG and we're gonna talk about his tactics. So get yourselves comfortable, make sure you've liked, subscribed and followed, and check out OK Jerseys where you can still get 15% off the £15 shirts. Go grab your England shirts, your home, away, wherever it is for the World Cup, whichever country you support, you can get them now on OK Jerseys. Scan the QR code and use code FFTV15 for a further 15% off. All right, let's get into this. I'm a bit sad, but this stuff fascinates me. It really does. Now, as I said in the intro, there's a lot of talk about 3-4-2-1, you know, the Amorim formation, but Glasner did it better. Can Forest defend in a 3-back formation? Is a 3-back formation really a 5-back formation? All this stuff. I'll tell you now, the formation means nothing. Thanks for watching. Because it really doesn't. And this is stuff that Glasner himself has talked about. Like, I'll show you some graphics in a second. Playing as a back three is how you start on paper, right? But how it develops in the game is very different. There's up and down movement, there's side to side movement, there's shape movement, everything like that. It comes into play. And why I'm so excited about Glasner is because this is stuff he understands. This is stuff that he's done throughout his career, be it through his rookie training period in Austria. Then he went to Germany. He was learning under the likes of Ralf Rangnick. And I actually think Ralf Rangnick, very, very intelligent football mind as well. Ignore all the crap you hear from the Man U fans on him. He's brilliant, tactically very good. And on top of that, he's then developed his own style, his own philosophy, influenced as well by the Dortmund team under Klopp. So these are all good things. And then on top of that, a team he studied very heavily was the Barca team under Pep, where you had obviously that ridiculous midfield, Iniesta, Busquets, Xavi, etc. So all of this is made up the makeup of Oliver Glasner and how his philosophy has developed in football. Now, the majority of his time he does play 3-4-2-1, but it hasn't always been that way. He will adapt based on players. And I think we have the nucleus of a squad that can fit this formation. But there's key principles that he has that we need to keep an eye out for. And these key principles are really important. Oliver Glasner loves to get the ball forward in his setup, in his philosophy. In fact, at certain stages throughout last season, Palace were the quickest and most direct. And direct doesn't mean long ball football, but getting from their own box to the opposition's box in terms of speed, they were the quickest. Why? Because Glasner's philosophy isn't pass it back to the keeper, pass it sideways to the defender. It's all about moving players into the correct positions to get that ball, move forward. Then you use the pace, you use the transition, you use whatever. There's loads of different things he can do. And then most importantly, and this is a simple one, but not talked about enough in football, is shapes. Diamonds and triangles. And that's what he bases his nucleus on, getting players into those triangle shapes and those diamond shapes, which gives them options. He even goes down to the finest detail. He prefers a more diamond shape than a square shape, because when a player looks to pass a ball in a diamond shape, he can open his body more up to make the pass than whereas a square shape, where he's just passing it, say, straight forward, it's more closed body position. This is the level of detail that probably is putting you guys to sleep right now, but heavily excites me. So let's get into some scenarios. Let's bring up our team and let's have a look at it here. Now, I've just chucked some players in there, right? Don't take this as the team that's going to start or anything. I know what you lot like in the comments, okay? But this would be the Oliver Glasner shape. And in essence, you look at it and think, okay, nothing too different. We saw a bit of this under Nuno. I'm sure there's going to be loads of comparisons to Nuno ball versus Glasner-ball. They're not the same, in my opinion, at all. There are elements within there that are the same, but we're going to see a lot of different stuff. Now, in terms of what he likes to do is compact sides of the attack. So, for example, if the opposition are attacking down this right-hand side, a lot of the players will shuffle across there. And I've seen some great examples of Glasner's work where, okay, so this is compact, but if you've got a good ball striker who can pass the ball cross field, let's say, I don't know, Elliot Anderson. If Elliot Anderson is here next to Jesus and he whips a ball across to Nico Williams or whoever the opposition player would be, normally what you would expect in a setup would be that it would be Dominguez's responsibility to come across and cover it, not the left back, right? But instead what happens is if there was space there, Williams would be, let me say that again, not saying Williams. Let's just say the person here, Elliot Anderson, plays the ball to the player in front of Nico Williams. Rather than Dominguez coming across to block the space, what Glasner likes is the player facing the play to close him down. So what will be ingrained into them and drilled into them in this preseason is that as soon as Nico Williams steps out to close the ball onto that side and the ball is switched across, for example, it's now Murillo's responsibility to cover the man that Nico Williams may have been. Milenkovic shifts across, Cunha shifts across, the midfield start to shift across as well. So this is what I was saying at the start, where you have not just the up and down, the 3-4-1-2 that everyone's so like, you know, talking about too much. There's also the left to right shape as well. So that happens defensively. But on the attack as well, there's a lot of different facets we need to understand. I said to you about the diamonds and the triangles. So what he likes, for example, is to get the wing backs up full. Now, what that will do is, let's just say Einar and Nico Williams get up there. You start to get those triangles in and around Williams, Gibbs White, and say Wood, for example, there as a 3. That creates a triangle. And then in the midfield, you would start to create more, diamond shapes. So you got Cunha there, Dominguez there, Sangare, Jesus making that diamond shape. Diamonds and triangles, look out for it in the preseason. What does this do? This allows more options for passes, less opportunities to mess up. And this is key. And this is the balance. And this is what he's going to train into the Forest players throughout preseason, is how they move the shape. How they're always making sure that they're in the correct diamond position or in the correct triangle position to make sure they're available. That if one of the teammates has got the ball, that there are options explicit almost. Like if you look at it here, for example, say Cunha has the ball. He would have Sangare as an option on the right. He's got Dominguez into the middle. Technically, he could go back to Sels. Glasner doesn't really like that. He could play a square ball across to Milenkovic. Murillo could be in the space here. There could be a long crossfield ball into there. Obviously, it depends where the opposition and everything is. But this is the kind of tactics and style that he likes. And then the important thing here, and we're going to talk about the players a little bit, is when the players are on the attack. Let's just get it back into the correct shape here, guys. When the players are on the attack, right, let's just say the ball is with Einar and he's got it to the byline. Glasner wants at least one of his 10s in that box alongside the striker. So it will be down to Gibbs White or Jesus to be in that box. And what he wants to do, I mean, he likes 2 as well. Then he wants the fullback right up here. He wants the 2 6s, as he would call them, literally. I'm overlapping it here, but you get the point. And then he wants 2 of the centre backs piling up there. And then this creates the spare man, if you like, for the centre back, which would be perfect for Murillo. He can either slot into the middle or he can double up behind Nico Williams to give more options. This is the kind of philosophy and mind and everything that Glasner thinks about when he's setting up tactics in kind of football. And it's fascinating to watch. And this is why when Cooper got sacked, Glasner was the one I wanted. Go back, check the receipts. He was the one on my list. And I think it can work. But what I will say is I'm not sure we've completely got the players that work for it. Because what Glasner also likes to do is counter press. You're going to hear this word a lot, counter pressing. He likes to counter press in a 4-4-2 because that allows at least 4 people to commit to the counter press. So, for example, and this is why I'm saying to you guys, 3-4-1-2 doesn't matter because the formation changes within the game. So if Forest were going to counter press under Glasner, let's just say it's this team, what you will see is Jesus goes up alongside Wood. You then see, where are we here? Dominguez step into there, and then Murillo step into that shape. Hold on, I've done a mess here. Let me start again. Let me start again. That's what I was going to do, right? So what you would have is Einar steps in, Gibbs White goes across, and then you get those two there. Cunha shuffles across, and you're counter pressing now if it's on the left-hand side with these four. Wood goes and presses, Jesus covers the space there, and then you got the counter press on the left-hand side, for example, from a 4-4-2 shape. There's so many details that Glasner will be covering off in his tactics. This is why it's so important that he's coming now because of the preseason, and this allows the players time to learn and adjust it, because make no mistake about it, in my opinion, Glasner's an elite manager. But with elite managers come a lot of instructions and a lot of information that players are going to have to take on. And if they can't cut it, then they need to move aside for someone who does, because Glasner's got the track record to prove it. Now, just before, I know I've blabbed on a lot and I could do like a whole hour on all this tactics. It's so fascinating to watch. Some key players that I think may struggle in this formation. Call this the negative part of the video. I don't know. Chris Wood, for me, is going to struggle. He needs to be able to press and counter press. There's that word again. I don't think Chris Wood is cut out for that. In my opinion, you either get a new striker like a Mateta, or Jesus goes up front because he can press, or the other one, and I don't really want to see it because I don't think he can score goals, it's Taiwo. Taiwo is a very good presser and counter presser. So in essence, I actually think you keep Taiwo under Glasner, but as backup, and then you look to, I hate to say it, upgrade on Chris Wood for like a Mateta who knows the system and knows how it works. The other one I worry about is Sangare. Dominguez, oh my God, Glasner's going to love Dominguez with the pressing and the ability to counter press and everything else. Sangare, I don't know. I don't know if he's got the pace for the counter press. These two players are very, very pivotal, the 2-6s, and very important for the system, and they have to be mobile around that pitch. I almost think we potentially may need another player there. I don't know. We'll talk about that as the transfer window develops. But then you got other options as well. Let's just say you do put Jesus up front. You got an option for a 10 with McAtee wherever he is. He could potentially go in there as an inside 10. You could, I think, play backward, maybe Hudson-Odoi alongside Gibbs White. There are options there, but players are going to have to adapt. There's no two ways about it. But it's really exciting times right now. And I will, if you like this kind of video, I can do more and more in-depth stuff on the real geeky stuff of his formation. But trust me, the best thing that's happened is that Forest did this early doors, so that Glasner, just from the information I've said, how long have we done? Like 13 minutes. I'm sorry, guys. But just from the information I said, there's going to have to be sessions on each one of those in specific, which each of the players need to understand their roles, their positions. What, you know, if Einar moves this way, what does it mean that Milenkovic has to do? What does it mean that Sangare has to do? Everyone's going to have to understand exactly where they need to be on the pitch. But this is not low block counter-attacking football. This is counter-pressing football with the desire to move the ball forward quickly and be on the front foot and attacking. Yes, he can defend in a 5-4-1 out of possession against the sweatier teams if you come up against an Arsenal or a Man City or whatever. But within that system as well, there are different elements that Glasner looks to put on the pitch, tactic-wise and philosophy-wise as well. Trust me, this is going to be exciting times, but you got to, in the words of Take That, have a little patience. Because it is now onto the players how quickly they will understand and then implement Glasner's philosophy and messages. So let's see what happens. Get your thoughts in. I hope you guys found this useful. Just a quick insight into the philosophies of Glasner. Make sure you've liked, subscribed. Go check out OK Jerseys and use code FFTV15. We'll see you on the next video. Come on, you Reds.